Welcome, Saul. Welcome to Travel Connections. I am so excited to talk to you about South America and Patagonia and the incredible trip we have. I have to tell you, it was one of my favorites of my entire life. Welcome.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. That's amazing. Yes.
Well, it is. And that's the thing. I've been fortunate to go a lot of great places. And I was so sad to leave. Both Craig and I, we were so sad to leave. We loved it.
Yes. Yes. That was a great trip. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get to live there. I mean, holy cow, you get to live there. Tell me a little bit. So you didn't grow up in Patagonia, did you? Or did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
No, I grew up in the Central Valley, in the main valley where we produce all the wine.
Okay.
That's called Chagua Valley, kind of California.
Okay.
And that's 2 hours south from the capital, which is Santiago.
Okay. Okay.
That's 3.5 hours flying from Patagonia to there. So it's far away.
Well, it is. Patagonia is enormous. I mean,
yes,
it takes up, I think I mentioned to you that someone asked me if Patagonia was a country. But anyway,
yes,
we'll talk about that in a minute. So how did you get into tourism? Were you always in tourism?
Since 36 years ago, yes.
36?
Yes. I was studying to become a translator and simultaneous interpreter. And one of the other students from the second year, he came to all of us saying, who want to get money, know people, eat for free, and visit different places?
Sign me up.
So, yeah, many of us said, okay. So the professional career to become a tour guide doesn't exist still in Chile.
What?
So you study tourism and you study like general areas, or they just go to either restaurants or hotels, but not tour guides.
Okay.
And now they study like ecotourism, but that's just talks about environment and other things. So we made ourselves, those of my generation, all the tour guides, we made ourselves. And the mayor's office in Santiago, which is the capital of the country, then they hire different teachers from universities to speak to us about, for instance, flowers or trees or an architect and so on. So we could go there or not. And besides, I spent months and months reading at the National Library and writing down, because there was no internet at that time.
No.
And I walked on the main avenue writing down the name of the monuments, who made this monument, and let's see the design. Let's do it like this, like that. Yes. And then you have to learn about all the subjects, because we have to talk about everything.
Well, you do. You know everything.
So no, I wish I could learn more, but there's not so much time. And so that's, I started to go during the weekends, and then winter holidays, and then summer holidays, and then I stayed. And then in the low season in Santiago, we also have a low season. We have tourism all year round, but there's always a low season. And then I used to teach English or do translations or work as an interpreter. So that's what I've been doing for the last 36 years. And sometimes I worked in some hotels also. Yeah.
Well, and you do a lot of things with Antarctica too, which I think is super cool.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Well, so how long have you worked with Colette? It's been several years, hasn't it?
1 year.
1 year?
Yes.
I don't know. They should have hired you a long time ago. Oh my gosh.
In fact, the first group I had was with the general manager of products of Colette.
Really?
I didn't know it was him. I knew he worked for Colette when I met him just here. And I never told him that it was my first group. So when they asked, I said, yeah, I've been many times here and that's it. And yeah. And yeah, it was a great group. Yes. We talk about a lot about programs. He asked me a lot of things, tips, things to change and all that. Yes.
Well,
but many people think I've been working for a long time. Yes.
Well, that's the thing. It was seamless. I have to say that to you. I'm not just saying that because I love Colette. Yeah. Everyone knows I love Colette, but they do an excellent job. And this itinerary was incredible. I started kind of thinking, okay, what are we going to talk about? There's so many things we did in 14 or 15 days that we can't literally talk about every single detail. And it was magnificent. I loved everything. And you had so much knowledge about this tree and that flower and that statue. And you just knew everything. I'm laughing, but you did. And then the glaciers. And there was just so much that we got to experience and to see. I honestly, I can't say enough about what you did for us. I mean, it was just amazing.
Yes, and I remember the Yule you got in the farm.
You mean the sheep?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're gonna get to that. So we started in Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires. Yeah.
Was that pretty good?
Aires. Yes.
Oh, Aires, because no one pronounces it correctly. So we'll work on that part. So we start there, and we were there for just, I think, one night, and then we headed to El Calafate. And I love to say Calafate. That is the cool.
Yes.
And that is the entrance. Would you consider it the entrance to Patagonia or the gateway to Patagonia?
For this trip, yes, because Patagonia starts geographically further north. But for this trip, yes, that's our beginning. Yes.
Well, and it was all new to me. All this geography was new. So Patagonia then is kind of split between Chile and Argentina. Or can you better explain that for me?
Yes. Patagonia is a territory, as if we talk about a desert, for instance, or the forests. Patagonia is like that, but it's a very unknown area. So there are many prairies there. It's a flat land, and there are glaciers. So according to some wrong agreements, Patagonia was divided between Chile and Argentina. And Argentina has 40% of Tierra del Fuego island. Chile has 60% of it. But I think it should be a country.
Really?
I think Patagonia shouldn't belong to Chile or Argentina. It should be a different country because all things happen here. Both areas have been so abandoned for all governments. It's a so far away place, so isolated, that I think it should be just totally different. People here are the same, no matter if they are Argentinians or Chilean. We all have the same needs. It's the same weather, terrible weather.
Right.
So it's a hard life here in this area. Yes.
I think that's fascinating because I can't see either country giving it up to give it to because then you'd have to create another government, et cetera, right?
Yes.
I can't see that happening. But I was fascinated by you talking about that because there is a mixture of people from Argentina and people from Chile and other countries too, of course, that all live in harmony together in Patagonia.
Yes. And there are mixed families, an Argentinian and a Chilean. Yeah. So we go to the Argentinian town to visit our relatives there. They come to celebrate a birthday. So yeah, it's like if we were all like from the same country.
Right. Yet you're not. Which is super interesting.
And most of people have, well, in our case, we don't have relatives there, but most of people from Puerto Natales, they do. So most of them have both, we call it national identity card. So most of them have both of them. So
Really?
you can go to Argentina. When you go through the Chilean customs, you show the Chilean one. When you get to the Argentinian, you show the Argentinian one.
That's really clever. Well, it felt very homogeneous to me, and it felt very comfortable. I loved the people wherever we went. I thought everyone was super warm. I thought it wasn't super warm because it was windy, and it is very famous for the wind. But the people were warm. The food was delicious. The vistas are indescribable. I mean, seeing the glaciers, seeing, oh my gosh. So we can start with Perito Moreno Glacier.
Yes.
Holy cow. And we had a day, oh my gosh, the sun was shining. And you know so much about glaciers. You actually studied glaciers?
Yeah, for 1 year only. Yeah.
Well, that's 1 year more than I've studied glaciers.
Yeah, no one wants to study that.
No,
There's not so many people interested in the ice, but yeah.
Or just like the movement of the glacier and stuff like that. I'm not that interested. The magnitude of the size of it and the color of it.
Yes.
And we went out on a boat, and there was only like 20 of us. I mean, there was a few extra people, but just our little group. My goodness.
It was like a private tour for us. Yes.
It was. And it was like, the way I describe it is like Game of Thrones. I mean, it is a wall of ice that I don't even know how tall it is. Do you know how tall it is?
The Perito Moreno?
Sí.
The highest areas, because, it's like this. So the highest areas is about 60 meters.
That's really tall. That's really tall. It was remarkable. And that was our first experience. So we jumped around a lot. We moved like every 2 to 3 days, I think.
Yes.
I'm looking at my book. I have my little book that comes from Colette. It comes in this little, little thing. But it was very nice because they lay out what you're going to do each day. And it has a little brief description. It doesn't really do it justice, to be perfectly honest, because it's like, it should say like mind-blowing itinerary for you.
Yeah. You cannot imagine Perito Moreno. You cannot imagine. It's so hard. Yes. Or you cannot imagine Torres del Paine. There are things. First of all, the area is so huge. When you look the area in the map, then you say, this is a very little place, very small place with so many islands. But you get here and then it's huge.
I know. Well, first of all, Torre del Paine, I was calling it Torres del Paine, and that is wrong. That is, would you say that's the most famous of the national parks, or one of famous national parks?
Yeah, well, it was selected to be the 8th wonder by UNESCO. Yes, so it's that famous. Yes.
Wow. Well, and then
but in Chile we have we have many parks which are like Torres del Paine. So it happens that they are not promoted, but I mean they're all of them so nice, so amazing. But there's no a big difference between Torres del Paine and the rest. They're all
really
more or less. Yeah. Yes.
Well, we were also there on a pretty sunny day. It was windy that day, but it was really sunny. And when we first got there, there was a waterfall that even if you had just seen the waterfall, you would have been happy and could go home.
Yes.
That pretty, right?
Yes.
It was, I mean, it wasn't as big as like Victoria Falls or Niagara Falls, but it was enormous.
Yes. And with the mountains there, with the view of the mountains. Yes. Yeah.
And then the mountains are behind it. And then there's three,
the three towers.
The three, you want to tell us a little bit about the three towers?
Yeah. There are three towers made of granite, but they are three of 28 mountains of that whole mountain range. Oh. So they are so famous because there was a British woman who came here, Lady Florence Dixie, and she had an adventure at the end of the 1800s. And when she saw the towers, she was astonished, and she called them the needles of Cleopatra,
Really?
which is something, yeah, what has to do with Cleopatra here? So it's so strange. But when she went back to England, she made all these areas so famous, and she wrote a book called Across Patagonia. And all mountaineers got interested in coming here to climb the famous towers made of granite. So that's why they started to become more famous than the other mountains. But then the government decided to do the park, and then the whole area became very, very important and very of the interest of many scientists also.
Well, you gave us a fact. One of the many facts that you gave us while we were there is you said that, so we got to see the top. There were no clouds hanging over the top of the range. So we were very, very fortunate that day. And you said that you knew an Italian tourist that came 4 times?
3 times.
3 times.
3 times, yes.
And never saw
the towers and the mountains, yes.
I mean, that it would be incredibly disappointing not to see that. And so I didn't really know how lucky we were. But, every time we would stop, I would say, this is the greatest shot. This is the greatest photo. And then we'd go a little further, or we'd go to the left, or we'd go to the right. And I'd go, no, this is the greatest shot.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And I said, take it easy. Next place is better. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we went to so many places. I could have said, okay, I'm done. This was so gorgeous. I can leave now. And there were so many, almost every day. We had something new and something exciting that we were doing.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe that we were still doing. It was that jam-packed. And I'm not just saying that. I can't believe what was fit into that itinerary. Although I didn't feel like exhausted. I didn't feel like I was being pushed too hard or anything. Do you agree with that? I think the itinerary is fantastic.
This is not to me a holiday, really, because I think a holiday shouldn't have this so early
in the morning.
Yes. But
right.
I think you are used to that because people travel a lot and you all have these kind of itineraries. So knowing that, yes, I think it's very well organized. Colette did a great job, helped by nature and the timings and all that. Yes.
Well,
it's very good.
You're right. Was this a vacation? I wouldn't give it vacation, although I was relaxed and I enjoyed talking with my tour mates and we had a blast. We had such a great group. We were so congenial. We got along super well. But there's a lot to see. And so I think there's a balance between seeing it all and relaxing, right?
Yes. I'm laughing because when you said the group was so, I had an image of some people of the group. Yeah, we had like 2 very special people, very funny. Yeah,
we did.
Anita and Norman.
Oh my gosh, they were fantastic, and everyone brought their own personality.
And I thought about Craig.
And Craig and Dawn, and that was really, really fun about it because we had people from all over the United States, and they were just...
And the elections were in one of those days also.
That's right. And we did really well with that. And I loved being in Patagonia and not having to deal with the election stuff.
Yeah.
I was like super happy with that. Well, so we went to that national park, and then I went back through and I was like, wait, we went to other national parks too. We went to Tierra del Fuego National Park. Is that the one that was that in Ushuaia? Where was that?
In Ushuaia. Yes, in Ushuaia. Yes.
And that's the one that's like the end of the earth kind of thing, like the end of the road, end of the earth.
No, it's the end of the road, of the Argentinian road.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
End of
The
the
end of the continent is where Cape Horn is.
which was magnificent. Well,
Yeah.
we can talk about the cruise. I mean, I'm skipping around here, but the cruise. The other things I want to talk about is Glacier Alley, and I want to talk about the cruise. So we start in El Calafate, and then we kind of zigzagged our way kind of down the continent.
Yes.
And then we get on the ship in Punta Arena, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we get on the ship, and there's only about 100 people. It was about half full, which was really awesome for us.
Yes. Yes.
So it was like, there was like 100 people, and the rooms were really cute. The food was amazing. And then here's the part I didn't understand from geography. I thought Cape Horn was like the tip of South America. But no, there's all these little islands. Tell us about the islands. I did not understand that.
Yeah. The end of the continent is islands.
Yeah.
Thousands of islands.
Yes.
Yes. So the end of the continent on the Chilean side, well, this is the really end of the continent. I mean, only land. It's made by a peninsula called Brunswick Peninsula. And it's about, we could say, some hours south from Punta Arenas.
Okay.
Then all the rest is surrounded by islands, thousands of islands. And then we have one big island, which is Tierra del Fuego.
Okay.
And that is divided by Chile and Argentina. And the end of Tierra del Fuego is where Argentina says is the end of the road.
Okay.
Which is in Ushuaia. So Ushuaia is at the end of Tierra del Fuego. But then after Tierra del Fuego, further south, we have 1,000 islands, which belong to Chile. And one of those islands is at Cape Horn.
Okay.
Yeah, the name of the island is Isla Hornos.
Isla Horno. See, and so the Argentinians are claiming the end of the world over here, and the Chileans are claiming the real end of the world over here, right?
Kind of. No, it's Argentina. At the end of Argentina is here, and then there is a Beagle Channel. There is a channel there, and then further south, all that is Chile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then Cape Horn. And so we traveled on the ship through those islands. We were in the Beagle Channel, correct?
No, we were in the Beagle Channel only in the last day when we get to Ushuaia.
Okay.
Before that, we went through the Strait of Magellan, which belongs to Chile also.
Okay. Well, that was a totally surprising, besides meeting your son, which was really cool. We went to a place where they had replicas of the actual ships that Magellan took, and we went on them, and my gosh, can you speak to that a little bit? That was unbelievable. I love that part.
Yes, the owner is fan of history. He's a cartographer. So his dream was to have that museum. He thought it was totally important and necessary to have that kind of museum in front of the Magellan Strait.
Yes.
Where everything started.
Right.
So after many years of very strict research, then he went to Europe many times and he got the original designs of all these vessels. And then he hired two of the best carpenters, and then the three of them did it in 6 years. Yeah. Yeah. It's now Victoria, is the HMS Beagle, and then it's the James Court, and then it's the schooner. Yeah.
And we also had a sunny day that day. It was windy, but we had a sunny day that day. I thought that was remarkable. And it was also mind-blowing for me because they were so much smaller. I mean, imagine these people came from Europe. That is a really long way away.
No toilets.
no toilet,
no air conditioning,
no,
nothing, no bar, nothing.
no, none of the comforts that we had on our ship. That's for sure.
Yes.
That was really remarkable. I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't know that it existed, and B, just actually having that experience was really meaningful to me. I really enjoyed that. And I was just thrilled that Colette found that and added that to the itinerary because I had never heard of it in my life.
Yes, I think there are 2 museums like that. The other one, I don't remember if it's in Spain or Portugal. Yes.
Okay. It was remarkable. So we're on the ship, and the goal really is to kind of weave our way through these islands. And in the meantime, we're seeing all kinds of things. Let's talk about the Zodiac boats, because honestly, that was one of the reasons I wanted to take this particular tour, because of the cruise. And sorry, and one more thing. We were in Chilean waters, so we had access to things other ships didn't, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's really important to notice.
Yes, we landed in all places we landed. That's only for Chilean cruise ships. And that's the only company that goes through it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's super critical. So we had to gear up, you guys, and we're going to go on these Zodiac boats, and the Zodiacs come to the back of the ship, and we kind of divide up between people, and we don't really know how cold it's going to be. Some days it was colder than others, and so we put on all our layers, and we put on our coats and our hats and our gloves and all that. I loved it. Oh my gosh. I felt like such an explorer, like such an adventurer.
all that outfit, and then on the way back, someone waiting for you with a scotch and hot chocolate.
Exactly. Yeah. So we go out there and you can see the glaciers up close. I mean, not super close, but pretty close. You have to be careful of calving and things like that. So you don't like right underneath a glacier, but holy cow. I absolutely love it. The wind is in your face and you're bouncing sometimes, because sometimes it was really, really windy. And so we did get kind of wet on a couple of occasions. And then we also went to that island where we went, we did it a couple times, where we would take a Zodiac to an island to hike.
Yes.
What was the name? I don't know which one my favorite was, but they were all my favorite.
Where there was a radio station, probably.
Yeah, and there was one that was more remote, like there was nothing there but just hiking. It was a pretty hefty hike where we had
where Pia Glacier is. That's the one.
That was
Pia Glacier. Yeah,
it was Pia Glacier.
Boulder. You did the Boulder. That's the one you did.
And that was unbelievable. I mean, the views from up there were extraordinary, and it wasn't raining and it wasn't that windy. It was a little bit cold, but to be able to like beach the Zodiac and climb out and go on up and hike around. I'd never experienced that ever. Ever. Nothing even close to that. Do you
not even in Norway or
no, I've not been to Scandinavia.
Iceland or
I've been to Iceland.
Canada. Yeah.
I've been to Iceland, but we didn't go out in Zodiacs. It was winter and it was really, really stormy. So we didn't go out in Zodiacs. It was just magical. And we saw penguins and we saw, what's the other name of the bird? The name is escaping me. That we saw.
Cormorants.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah.
I love seeing those too. I thought that was beautiful, and seeing the guanacos. Well, we didn't see the guanacos down there, but they're kind of like llamas. That was a new animal for me.
Yeah. Yes, the guanacos, right?
The guanacos. There's a lot of guanacos. It starts with the G, but it's pronounced guanaco. And we actually even ate. What did we eat at that restaurant? Empanadas, guanaco empanadas. I had a bite, I think.
Empanada, guanaco, and also lamb. Yeah, king crab.
Oh gosh, the food. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I'm going to jump back up to central Patagonia when we went to the sheep ranch. That was a highlight for me too. I loved that was so unexpected. And the gentleman that owned it was so lovely. He explained so much about his family. Do you want to tell us a few more details about the ranch? That was amazing.
Yeah, Gonzalo and Sandra, they're so friendly and so warm. Yes, and Feyo is the name of the dog. His favorite, his main dog is Feyo. That's the name. Yeah, they come from he comes from a Scottish family. So that's how his great grandfather got there, and that's how all started. Yes,
and it was super. And, what was that? Sorry.
Yeah, now I spent New Year's in Calafate. So January the 1st was we had lunch there. So they had some relatives and friends that day. Yeah, that was very, very good. Yeah.
It was wonderful. And he showed us what the dog did. I have some really great video of that where he would like do a whistle or say a word. And that dog just lived for running around and gathering those sheep and bringing them back. And he rode a motorcycle. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So instead of horses, he drives like a dirt bike almost, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And the dog jumps up to where like the gas tank is, kind of in the front seat.
Yes.
And so he drives him out to the fields because they have acres and acres.
Yes.
And he hops down and does his herding. It was like almost out of a movie, I think.
Yeah, and Gonzalo always says, Feyo needs a rest. So that's why I keep it here with me on the motorcycle. Yes.
You know, there are I could talk for a long time about all of the details of what we did. And honestly, it just makes me so happy to just talk to you about it again and go back over it. We haven't touched on the hotels. The hotels were amazing. The one in Argentina was lovely and elegant and right on a park. And then we were in more like rustic, but really cool rustic. You know, neat, really amazing architecture. I particularly loved Ramota. That is in your town, right?
Yes.
That was really, really cool. Very unexpected. I really enjoyed that hotel.
Yes, everybody says it's a very different hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, looks like, it's kind of long and skinny, and it's just a shape that I wasn't expecting. And I'm guessing maybe because of the winds. I don't know why it was kind of low like that.
The idea of the architect was to have a, stable for the horses, to keep the horses there.
Really?
You say stable?
Stable. Yeah, that's the right word.
Stable,
yeah.
Right. That was the idea. And so the shape of the hotel is like a U.
Right.
So these two areas of the U are where the rooms are, but the connection here, that seemed to be a stable. That was really dark, wooden made, all black. So you go through it. Yeah, it seems like you are in the countryside. Yeah.
It was super cool. When you talk with guests, what do you want to make sure they know about Patagonia that maybe they, like, what are your favorite things about Patagonia?
Immensity, silence, pure air. That's my main things. But the thing I want they understand is how remote is, how old, how pure, how untouched is. To value every tree, every flower that grows there is so hard because when you come, weather is normally good weather. Maybe we can have a couple of hours of rain and some wind, but normally weather is not like that. You just come here for a couple of days. But in general, the idea is that people value what they are stepping on and what they are seeing, what they are observing. Yeah. So that's my main aim.
Well, and I think you accomplished that. I didn't know as much as I should have known about what I was going to see. And so everything, well, in a good way, everything was a surprise. Everything was magnificent and enormous and beautiful for me. I liked the remoteness of it all. Now, my husband, who's the city guy, he's like, where can I get my Wi-Fi, right? And Wi-Fi seems to be like the most, I don't know why people are like, what's the Wi-Fi password? Like,
Yeah.
come on, you guys, chill out. We're here in this gorgeous place. Who cares what the Wi-Fi is? But it is not around the corner for Americans to go, for North Americans, because you're an American.
Yes.
So that was something that was fun to talk about. Hey,
Yeah.
we're Americans. It's a long way to go. But I'll tell you what, it's worth every single minute to get there.
Yes, it's so different and so close. I mean, so close compared to people normally think about, as you said, Africa or I don't know, Asia or other places far away. But here is the same continent. It's just at the end of the continent.
Well, it's true. And also, even though you're traveling pretty far south, the time difference is nothing. It's a few hours. It's really not a big deal. And that was kind of a benefit because I didn't feel jet lag going either direction, really. And that was kind of a bonus part of it. I mean, there's just so many things about this tour. Lastly, I wanted to touch on like the benefits of being in a small group. My opinion is that I could have never created this trip on my own. Do you agree? I mean, come on, unless I knew you, there is no way I could have created this trip on my own.
Yes, because first of all, normally one doesn't choose places where it's cold or windy. One expects to go to other kind of places, more comfortable places, nice weather, sunny.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And secondly, it's an area that we know nothing about. So it's not something that is being promoted every year, each year. So you don't have so many friends who probably have been here.
No.
So yeah, it's something very different.
I do think it's catching on though. Like my nephew is going in April. I have a friend who's going in February. I mean, it's starting to happen. And I wonder, do you ever worry about over tourism? Do you ever worry about it getting too busy? I'm sure you do just a little bit, right?
Yes, a lot. We always comment with other guys that Torres del Paine should have a limited number of visitors per day. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't. So
it doesn't.
Yeah, okay. And we always comment when there is the ice is melting, and then everybody's expecting that fall of a very big piece of ice. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets so happy, and we just smile, but we are not happy for it because we know, the ice won't last forever. So.
Mm-mm. No, and I do think though that this is ecotourism, right? Because we were all very mindful of where we were stepping and where, when we got on and off the ship, we washed our boots and we made sure we weren't carrying any, I'm assuming, germs from the ship onto the land. I mean, I love that. I do feel like the people of Patagonia are really trying to maintain its purity.
Yes. Especially in that area where very few cruise ships go. Well, there are some that go, but they cannot land. So it's only the Australis company that can do it. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, think about that. That it's just one ship that's, maybe they have a couple of ships, but and a few cruises, that's not that many people that are getting to see that area of the world. And I really felt it. It was remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, Sol, I really appreciate you coming on Travel Connections to talk about this tour. I just, as you know, loved it so much and loved learning from you. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Patagonia that we didn't cover that you want to make sure people knew?
You have to come and bring your phones, your cameras, and enjoy it. That's it. Just enjoy. Don't worry about anything else. If you have any problems, you're too far away, but you cannot solve it through your phone. So you have to enjoy it. That's the only way. Yeah,
You're 100% right.
You won't find a very easy airplane to go
Nope.
home. So
Nope.
you cannot manage everything. If you have no signal. You have no signal. You won't die. Yeah.
I agree with you completely. Thank you so much for coming.
And I hope we have another interview after your Chiloé trip.
I hope so too. I hope
Yeah.
so too. I appreciate it very much. And I hope to have you back on Travel Connections. We'll talk about something else. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. And regards to Craig also.
Thank you.
A big hug for both of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.